folks, and welcome back to Chopp'n It Up, Episode 5, Video Edition. I'm your gracious, bodacious, humble host, Coop. What is going on? This is going to be a shorter style, obviously, episode with the addition of video. So, whoa, my gain on the mic is way up. We're going to put that down a little bit so we can get that nice little smooth jazz feeling going. This week has been slow. Same as most weeks now. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't even get into my week now because it's just basically the same thing over and over again. It is the Monday after Easter break, or the Monday after Easter Sunday, and that was the way I spent the Easter break is the same way I spend most of my days now, which I think is the same for everyone. Like a lot of people I talk to said they just spend it with their families. And did what they usually do, watch TV, play games, play board games as a family, and just try to sit down and eat. Dude, we're all going to be fat after this. We're going to be fat as shit. But yeah, that goes without saying, though. Even me, I feel like, me being a workout freak, I'll probably still manage to gain a few pounds after all of this. Hopefully it's in muscle and not in fat, but we'll wait to see how that pans out. I wanted to give you guys this episode. I tried recording, it was like 4 times yesterday, because yesterday was Easter Sunday. So yeah, I tried recording about 4 times. Didn't really work out. I had one take I didn't like. Talked about Tik-Tok, Carole Baskin. She definitely killed her husband, dude. I've been seeing that guy Doc Antle from the show. He goes on a lot of podcasts now. And he's pretty... he's pretty sure that Carole Baskin killed her husband, which I'm starting to think is more and more of an eventuality now because of some of the damning evidence that has come out about her, which I guess we can get into later. And then there's the also the apparent what could you even call it? It's like the documentary filmmakers, they kind of like marketed a different product than what they were going to put out to the people like Joe and Doc Antle and even Rick Kirkham. They pitched them basically more of like an expose piece instead of a sensationalized murder for hire piece. And I guess a lot of the people on the show, including Carole Baskin, Rick Kirkham, Doc Antle, they were all pretty up in arms about that. They thought they were mistreated there, which, to me, like, if you're going to have a documentary, and to get it to number 1 on Netflix, which has been for, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks now. I think it was at number 2 at one point, and then it jumped up to number 1. You're going to need some sensationalization? Maybe that's a good word. You're going to need some, let's use a better term. You're going to need some zest. You're going to need some spice in a show like that to keep the entertainment factor alive and to keep, your audience listening. Because, listen, it's 45-minute long episodes. There's 7 of them. For me, a guy with ADHD, I know I talked about this in the last podcast, it was hard to stomach all of the episodes in one night, let alone, I think it took me like a week. So it was hard. It was really hard to stomach, even though hard to digest, I guess would be a better word, even though what was happening in the documentary was really interesting and informative. Still was just a lot. Like, I like how I watched the Aaron Hernandez documentary too. That was a really good one. And they only had like 3 hour-long episodes. Like, I guess for me it would be like it's easier to digest if you have a smaller episode count and longer time per episode. It ran like an hour 15 each. Some were longer, some were shorter. Also, that was just a really compelling story. I didn't even know he died. I was sitting there, I thought he just got life in prison. I knew he was like an ex-Patriot tight end and he worked alongside Gronk and all that, but I had no idea that he was dead. So that was a really interesting twist at the end that he killed himself. And it shows you, man, like something like that, it shows you the lengths that some people can go to protect their identities or a certain idea that they might have of themselves. And because you saw when he was out in the clubs, he was, oh, that guy's testing me there, or like he'd look across the bar and it would be like, yo, that motherfucker's looking at me funny. Like, I'm a cap. Like, I could never, me personally, because I don't have that big of an ego, I couldn't fathom getting that angry at someone. You know, I'll get the odd stare sometimes, or you know, I've even had people like when I walk in places laugh at me, which, you know, I don't know why, I don't know what they're laughing at, but anyway, you know, it's something that I try to just take in stride, and it's something that if I feel like Hernandez would have been surrounded by better people, he could have done, because that kid had so much potential. And, you know, again, just shows that you can throw it all away in a couple of actions. Which is, you know, actually, no, not really, because he murdered those two people, allegedly, which he got off in the court case, but I still happen to think that he murdered those two people. And then played an entire season of football, which was wild. But yeah, no, it was very interesting. It was an interesting documentary, and it was easier to stomach than Tiger King. Also, Tiger King was, like they said, I mean, I can kind of understand what Carole Baskin and all those guys meant when they said it was really over sensationalized, because it I like the way it was paced, but it was just like, it was such a wild ride. Like, when you talk about watching a documentary and getting sucked into a rabbit hole, that's really, to me, what happened. Because for me, I tried to watch like 2 episodes a day, and then I would come back to it like 2 or 3 days later, and then I'd watch the rest of it. And for me, it was like, like, holy shit, man. But like, over the course of 2 episodes, someone gets their arm bit off, then there's an explosion, alligators are dying all over the place, there's fire, Rick Kirkham leaves, there's like no more show, suddenly Joe's husband shoots himself. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it shows you how quickly also things can go downhill in a matter of days, months, doesn't matter, man. Your life can be turned over like that. And it was a wild ride. It was a wild ride. I don't watch a lot of documentaries either, but those 2 were really, really good. It was good television. It was good subscription-based television. Good for Netflix, man. They had 2 back-to-back dingers in that. And now I don't really like watch that much Netflix either. That was the first time I'd watched Netflix in a while, because to me, like, their movie selection isn't really that good. Because what do they have? I know they're in debt. They're in debt like 9. You know what? We should probably look this up, right? I've been looking things up lately. Let's look this up. Netflix debt. Oh shit. Okay, so when I last checked, it was $9 billion. Guys, get this now, it's $14.8 billion. And it still keeps attracting investors. At least it's been rising steadily for at least the last 5 years. The company finished in 2019 with $14.8 billion in debt. That's in 2019. Now in 2020, I'm sure they've been making up some of the numbers just because of Corona and everyone's inside, but still, dude, $14.8 billion in debt, and they still pay for original series. Tiger King probably did him some numbers, so I'd imagine, yeah, Tiger King coming in got them some money back there, but same with Aaron Hernandez, but it's like, wow. Like, if you're one of the higher ups at Netflix, I'm so gassy today. If you're one of the higher ups at Netflix, you got to be thinking, man, like, and then you got Disney Plus on the horizon. You got HBO. What's that new HBO streaming service? HBO, new streaming service. HBO Max, which I'm definitely going to check out. I was going to check it out, and then we don't have HBO anymore. That was the biggest letdown of this entire coronavirus outbreak, because now I have everything but HBO, the one service that I actually used. I use Showtime for Deezus and Marrow. That's about it. I liked HBO. I think they're going to make a Last of Us show, like an original series. I wanted to watch that. I'll figure out a way to watch it. There's all types of free stuff online, but HBO Max seems interesting. It's the same amount of money as Disney Plus and Netflix, and seems to be offering a lot of the catalogs there. And then I think if you have HBO Go, you can just roll it over, which is cool. I'm trying to think, because I know they have like a catalog of different stuff. They have DC, Looney Tunes, HBO Max originals, which you have to have with every streaming service, TNT, Cartoon Network. I guess Crunchyroll is that anime thing, I think. Adult Swim, True TV, TBS, yeah. CNN original series. Downloads. Yeah, plus, I mean, like, I like all the HBO originals. All the HBO originals are pretty good. There's Barry. Shit, what else is there? HBO originals. I have such a terrible memory. And I didn't take my medicine this morning because I'm on vacation. So why should I? I like Chernobyl. Dude, they have John Wick 3. Another big one for me. Big John Wick guy here. The Outsider I saw, I didn't really like. Hobbs and Shaw. Get the fuck out of here. Hobbs and Shaw. Dude, can we talk for a second about how, like, the Fast and Furious series degraded over time? Degraded over time. Dude, they started off so, like, it was so original, and it was just like people having a fun time drag racing, and then it got into like the criminal aspect of things. But I feel like for that time, a movie like that was typical, and now it's like, what the fuck? Like, now you have guys like riding motorcycles over trucks, and like as the truck is exploding, they'll like go under with a fucking, you know what I'm saying? You know, we gotta push it to the limit. You're sliding over the fucking whatever explosion thing with like an oil tank, and then you're going on your bike, and you know what I'm saying? Somehow you recover as the explosion is behind you. It's like, what? This started off with drag racing. Now there's like bionic suits. Wasn't that the thing with Hobbs and Shaw? It was like a bionic dude, and he was like a soldier or something. It's like, my point is like, what the fuck happened to the franchise? You can't. I mean, like, The Rock always kills. Rock. I feel like The Rock could do any movie, and I'd probably watch it, to be honest. But besides that, man, like, the series took a dive. You know, the series takes a dive if they keep pumping out stuff. I feel like a good indicator for if a series is falling off, and I'm trying to think if I could be wrong right now, but I feel like a good indicator of that would be if it exceeds 3 movies. I'm trying to think of a movie ever in history that's had a 4th that was actually decent. Because, and even, like, I feel like also, if you get to the 3rd movie, that 3rd movie is not going to be that good anyway on its own. So it's like, it's kind of just like, dude, keep it at 3 movies. Because I remember liking everything through Fast 3, or whatever they called it. But after that, man, like, it's just, after that, it just got less and less original, and it was more and more of a cash grab. It's not the same with TV shows, though. Well, Game of Thrones did it well up until the last season. Walking Dead, after 3 seasons, got noticeably worse. I don't really watch that much TV. True Detective is still really good. If you guys haven't seen that, that's another HBO original here. All 3 seasons were good. The 2nd season wasn't as good as the first, or the first and the 3rd, but second season banged. Well, there's Pearl Harbor, Band of Brothers. They have Us on there, Glass, Annabelle Comes Home, all the up-to-date horror movies. Like, that's the thing about HBO. I feel like they have the best movie selection. Stars, Showtime, their new selections are like, for instance, like, they'll be like, new for you this week, we just added this, Fast 5. I'll be like, why do I want to watch that? Why do I want to watch the human wife beater, Vin Diesel? Why do I want to watch him jump over whatever fuck, you know, like, he's like riding on a Ferrari over a building and shit, like, like, I don't want to watch that. Fuck out of here. I don't want to watch that. Come on, man. Come on. And then HBO, you got all the new releases. Like, it's a lot better. Entourage, great TV series and film. The Town, really good film. Maybe I just have bad taste in movies. Who knows? Could be that. Maybe everyone's sitting there being like, yo, I like Showtime. I like all its films. And I'm just sitting here the odd man out. Who knows? A lot of Liam Neeson movies on here, too. Cold Pursuit. The Unknown. Which one? Dude, Liam Neeson, I love how he sticks to, like, modes of transportation. Like, at first he did... It was a weird noise. First he did, like, Taken. And then he did that one about the train. And then he did that one about the airplane. Is this like a trend? He's always. I feel like there's obviously certain actors that get typecast in different scenarios or as different plot elements. Like there's always that one actor that always gets cast as the bad guy. Like I feel like not necessarily Mads Mikkelsen. Well, Mads Mikkelsen has that type of face. Like if Mads Mikkelsen, does anyone know? I'll put up a thing right there. If Mads Mikkelsen walked up my fucking front garden, I'd be scared. Any time of the day. You know? If he knocks on the door, he's like, I'm Mads Mikkelsen. I'd be like, all right. Like, he just looks genuinely... He's got that icy kind of stare. It's not like a 1,000-yard stare, but it's more just like it's like a Mads Mikkelsen stare, you know? Mads Mikkelsen gets typecast like that a lot. Forgive me, guys. I'm getting the name. Hold on. Inglourious Bastards. The main bad guy in that. I'm trying to remember his name. Not the bad guy, but the actor. Christoph Waltz. Fantastic actor. Gets typecast as enemy a lot. You had Inglourious Bastards. Django, he was a help. Alita, I believe he was the enemy. Spectre, 100% he was the bad guy. No Time to Die, he's going to be a big bad guy. Can't wait for that movie. It got pushed back, sadly enough. Just one of the things that got pushed back from the stupid virus. GoldenEye. He was in GoldenEye? Different type of GoldenEye. There's actors always like that get typecast in bad ways. Or in good ways. You know? Because I feel like for actors, and I've heard this a lot about the industry because I did in high school, I did a film partnership. You can get, if you get typecast, it can either exponentially help or hinder your career. Because if you get typecast as the villain, then you're not going to be considered for any other role. Like with Christoph Waltz, I could see him playing a jovial old man, but what I really know Christoph Waltz for off the bat, without even knowing his name, was the bad guy in every movie. Because he just plays such a convincing bad guy. And you know what it is? It's that like fake smile that he does. When he was I think he was the commander of one of the commanders of the Third Reich in Inglourious Bastards. He gets scalped at the end, I think. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but like he just has that aura around him where it's very intimidating. He has a fake intimidating smile. Like in the beginning scene of Inglourious, he's at the, what was it? That country house, and he walks up and they're hiding the Jews under the floorboards, and it's just like a tense 5 to 10 minute dialogue between the two characters, the homeowner that's hiding the Jews, and you know, he just goes through this song and dance where he's how's this, how's that, da 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 da. You'd be telling me if you had any Jews here, right? The guy'd be like, of course. And then he's like, all right, well, you can point to me where they are. And the guy finally cracks and says, don't hurt my fam. And then, they spray the floor. And they kill all the Jews, except for one. She runs away. Anyway, I digress. Christoph Waltz, great movie villain, but can play a whole dynamic range. So it can go on to help or hinder your career. And, I completely... See, this is what I do. I go on little tirades on my podcast, and I forget where I was starting from. But I guess that's kind of like isn't that the beauty of a podcast, you know? Oh, I was talking about what I was talking about last podcast, I think. What I was trying to talk about last podcast. I was really talking about my week, but we can get into it. Oh shit. So I tried to put my podcast up on TikTok for just like clips. So I signed up for an account, and dude, honestly, like the whole thing with me and TikTok is that it's just an app for people that are really self-concerned, conceited, whatever, self-absorbed. It's hot people that want people to know that they're hot. Basically, is my whole gripe with it. It's low effort content. It is, well, not all of it's low effort content. A good, I'd say maybe like 75%, right? Is low effort content. At least all the stuff that gets put up on Instagram. Because I feel like Instagram, the good part of Instagram to me is Twitter memes. Twitter gave Instagram a career. And the residual Twitter memes that fall down to Instagram, because I don't use Twitter that heavily, I just use it for sports news. Like the Twitter memes I see on Instagram are always the best part of Instagram. And then there's, of course, the Explore page, which used to be filled with a lot of sports news for me, and now is filled with, I don't know, I feel like it's like chicks. There's no happy in between, right? You have like e-girls and e-boys. It's either a girl talking about how she's so hot that she curves guys all the time, or an impossibly hot girl talking about how she always gets curved by guys. And everyone in the comments is like, what are you talking about? Because nobody believes a single word they're saying. Oh, yeah. You get curved by guys? And it's always like some 10 out of 10 girl with a great body and like just gorgeous. And she's like, yeah, like me having trouble talking to a guy and standing in the corner. I'm like, no, you're not. Come on. Nobody's believing that. Maybe she just thinks that she's not approachable because everyone's just too afraid to approach her. Then again, though, I feel like you get slid in the DMs a lot. Anywho, I digress again. It's always people like that I see on the Instagram timeline. It's always there's a lot of like underage people as well, which I find really weird. There's a lot of thirst traps there. No, that's why I don't. It's like ew. Just like keep that shit away from me, you know. And there's like those e-boys, the ones that like I don't know if anyone here watches. I'm sure a lot of people that listen to me probably listen to Cody Co. Those type of guys that he like rips apart on cam. Like I can't. Those guys, there's the one I forget. It's the guy that looks like that looks like John Travolta with hair extensions. And he's just like impossibly like almost robotic in the way he looks and the way he acts. And he's sitting there and he's, the funny thing to do, or like the popular thing to do, I guess, is follow for part 2 in 4 hours. Like 4 hours is going to make that much of a difference. So he's, and follow for part 2 in like 4 fucking hours. Like, all right, okay. And then he gets into it and he's like, how to make a girl smile. How to make a girl smile. All right. First, what you're going to want to do. And he's going through it. And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, okay, let's hear this. Maybe he knows something that I don't, right? Maybe he's not giving people the eyes like I am. Or maybe I'm not giving people the eyes like he does, So he's like, at first you don't compliment materialistic things, right? You want to compliment, you don't want to compliment her bag or her clothes. You want to compliment her skin. You want to compliment her skin, right? And I'm like, okay, a little weird, right off the bat, just saying to someone, I like your skin. Maybe you're talking for a while. Even then, that's kind of like a little weird if you don't say it right. Let's just say you either have to be insanely hot or the execution has to be there to say something like, I like your skin. Can't just be like, yo, hey, I like your skin. I want to wear it as a mask. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's plain and simple. Bump my. I gotta stop wearing a cap when I do this. Yeah. So you can't just walk up to someone and say like, hey, I like your skin. It's just not. I don't know. You know what? Listen, my female listeners, you guys sound off. You tell me if it's a good idea to say to someone, I like your skin. If a guy said that to you and you're just sitting in a party and he just goes, yeah, I like your skin. First thing he ever says when he comes up to you, I like your skin. What are you doing? Anyway, yeah, no. So he keeps on going and he's like, what was it? The next part was how to get a girl to smile, right? Part 2. And so he goes on and he's like, yeah, if you are trying to court a girl at a party and you're at the other side of the room, right? And you're trying to like, I guess, give her the eyes, like common thing. If I'm at a party and if I notice someone noticing me, that it's a few glances, a smile maybe, and then you work your way over. That's how I think it goes. I'm pretty sure. That's how it goes for me mainly. It doesn't happen a lot, but it goes down like that when it does. This guy goes, yeah, so if you're sitting in a party, you just want to stare at the girl. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. Like, all in one, like you don't look away, you just kind of like stare. He's like, yeah, you want to stare? Stare at her until she asks you what you're doing, and then call her beautiful. Now, to me, I'm sitting there like, I don't know about that. Because if, like, think about it. I'm going to just put this in perspective for all my listeners. You're sitting in the corner at a party, right? Male or female, doesn't matter. You know, I don't judge. I keep it fair. I keep it simple. You're sitting in the corner, in the corner. You're minding your business here. You're, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to strike a pose for y'all. You're minding your business, right? You're looking around. Maybe John Travolta with hair extensions is in the other corner, in the opposite corner. It's a crowded dance floor. You're not sure what to expect next. And he's just straight up looking, burning holes in your very essence, looking at you and just smiling, wide-eyed, wide-grinned. Just, and maybe you think that there's something up with him, right? Because, hey, if someone's staring at you and smiling, to me, I'm either stepping outside and getting jumped once I leave the party, or this person's legitimately insane. So maybe you make your way over for whatever reason. You feel like you want to talk to this guy. This John Travolta robot of a TikTok star. A guy that on TikTok spells his name, it's Troy with a Z. Maybe you recognize him from TikTok. You know? Hey, Troy. Big fan. My name's Amanda. Troy then says to you, well, Amanda, you're just, your skin is impeccable and you're beautiful. What are you saying to that? Off the bat. Thanks? Get the fuck away from it? Like, that's, it can go either way. My thing is, I think that Troy kid doesn't realize how hot he is. Pause. How good looking he is to women. Because anyone else that doesn't look like John Travolta with hair extensions would not get away with that. I couldn't stand in the corner of a room at a party, stare at a female smiling, wide-eyed, full mouth of teeth, until she either decides to come up to me or I go up to her. And you know, if someone's staring at you like that and smiling, they're doing the slow walk over. And once she asks you what's going on, you say, you're so beautiful and your skin is perfect. First thing, that works for nobody. Hell, you know what? Listen, you gotta get up into like that upper echelon of guys. You have to be super rich, people have to know who you are, or you have to look like a celebrity. You have to look like Timothy Chalamet. You have to be that level of influential or good looking. For that, and I feel like even then, that has like a 50% rollover rate. That's just me, though. I haven't even come close to mastering the art of picking women up. So, maybe that works. Maybe I'm sitting here making a fool out of myself on mic, right? Who knows? But to me, that's the thing with TikTok. To me, it seems like a lot of the people on TikTok, and this is an extremely roundabout point, but it seems like to me a lot of the people on TikTok are there because they're out of touch with reality. That's my hot take. And not, you know what? The meme content on TikTok is fine. I like the inventive stuff. But it's the people that just like are on there because they're hot and that gets them easy clicks. Like, dude, I can't get behind that. To me, I put so much work into my content that you guys might not ever see. But to me, I can't get behind stuff that doesn't take a lot of work to do. And that might be me sounding like the guy that has a Bible verse in his Instagram bio. But that's just my personal opinion, you know? Also, the app, just not intuitive. So I log into the app, basically what I was saying before, and I make my account, chopping it up, podcast, blah, 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 blah. I attempt to put my logo in, my sick ass fucking logo that I love so much. Shout out to myself for making that, dude. That thing's awesome. I went for an album colored cover type thing, and it doesn't disappoint. So I go to put in my logo, and lo and behold, maybe 3/4 of the logo is showing. I'm like, okay, fine, it's one of those. I try putting in a smaller version, and now 2/4 of it is showing. I tried for 15 minutes to resize the logo to get into the plane. The somewhere between YouTube thumbnail and like, I don't even know. Somewhere between like YouTube thumbnail logo and the logo they use for, or the thumbnail they use for Apple Podcasts. That type size for anyone that's listening. So anyway, I can't get it, right? And I settle for, I don't know, like 3/4 of the entire picture, and I just get the chopping it up, whatever the shit is, in the window. So I'm like, good enough. I'm gonna put the link in, or so I think, into the bio, and that'll be that. So I get that done. I'm thinking, all right, the worst is behind me, because I'd already put it into the After Effects queue. I'd done the waveform. For anyone that listens, they know like the stuff I put out on Instagram is the waveform audio thing. And I get to the bio, it's like the about section, the bio. And dude, bio can't be 80 characters. TikTok. Just can't be. I could barely put a link and, hi, my name is Jake. Let alone to let people know what the show is about. Which is basically nothing, but I want to be able to accurately express my show in a way that's ample, so people know if they like the clips, they can go here for this content. That's marketing 101 when it comes to content. I could barely put in the Spotify link. Also, Spotify, make your link shorter. I can barely put in the Spotify link. And then I think I just said like not introducing, but like chopping it up podcast clips. And I had like 80 out of the 80 characters. So whack. Make it like 150 or something. Double that. Anyway. I try uploading a clip. That takes like 30 minutes for some weird reason. So at this point, I'm just really done with the app. And the only reason I really got on it was just to get more traffic. But at this point, like, I made my Instagram open. It's now not private anymore. And I've been seeing a little bit more views on this. So maybe I'll just keep it at that. I don't even know if I'm going to continue with TikTok, dude. Because TikTok just annoys me, man. It's stuff like that. I was watching with this friend of mine, and there was this girl. It's even worth getting into. I guess so. Like, there was just this girl, and she'd broken up with her guy, with her boyfriend, and she like put all of it on TikTok and did the whole like come back in 4 hours for more stuff. I was like, dude, why are you putting that on TikTok? It doesn't make any sense. It's stuff like that. TikTok is basically, you know what it is? TikTok is kind of just like clout. It's like a clout generator for pointless stuff. Now, obviously, not all of it's pointless, but I feel like my point still stands, and I feel like you guys know what I'm talking about. And yeah, no, I mean, it's just a counterintuitive app, but you could blow up off of nothing on there, so it's going to be around for a while. My buddy was talking about how it was kind of like a Vine 2.0, which I don't really necessarily know if I agree with. It's way longer than Vine. It's more like a watered down Instagram, just with less interactivity. To me, at least. Because Instagram's sort of similar in that fashion. Like, there's a lot of influencers that would have you believe they're a certain way on Instagram, and it's not really, and it doesn't end up being the truth fully. You know, H3H3 did that great video about how, you know, the difference between social media influencers with a filter and those without, which I thought was really, really interesting because the difference between, let's just say the difference between what you see online and what you see in person is insane. Is big time insane. Which is crazy because I can't stand fake. You know, that's why I don't really post a lot of my face on mine. I just post these podcast clips for you guys and for myself. Build up a reel one day. But I don't know, we've been going for 35. Figured I could end it off here, maybe. Shorter episode this week. Just wanted to give it another try and see about video. But I think it was a pretty successful one. I'll get into more stuff over the... Oh, actually, wait, no. Well, we could get into... We got a little bit more time left. We could talk about the festivals and concerts not happening till early 2021, which for a lot of people is bad, but I don't really attend concerts that much. Like, the only concert I'd ever consider attending is for Jungle, one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band, like, all time. But for me, it's not that adverse of an effect. I assume if festivals and music venues aren't going to be supporting people and having people, then you'd be stupid not to think that sports wouldn't be taking a similar route. So we might be seeing a lot of NBA and NHL and other stuff like that just playing without crowds, which I'm fine with. As long as, like I said, the sports come back, I could care less. I just want to see something other than, dude, like the NBA horse competition. The NBA horse competition and the NBA 2K competition, not it. Really not it. Dude, the NBA horse competition had the quality of an ISIS beheading video. It was like I was watching through an Android phone. It was so terrible. And then all the people I wanted to see got knocked out early. CB3 and Trae Young. Out the window. So now I have no reason to watch. I could care less now. I don't know if Paul Pierce got bounced. I think he's going this Thursday, though. But, like, dude, it was just like... It was an attempt. You know what? NBA, I give you kudos. I give you kudos for the attempt. But just, it wasn't it. Same with the 2K tournament. The mic quality was terrible. They were using their headsets. It's like, if you're the NBA, do what a lot of podcasts are doing. Go on Zoom, give them proper mics. Have them Lysol down the mics. Like, you can send stuff to them. It's a pandemic, but you're the NBA at the same time, you know? If you really want to keep viewership up, you could send the athletes mics. You could, I don't know, you could send them a camera setup. I assume they were using phones because that shit looked horrendous. They might have actually been using Android phones because that was one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen on TV. It wasn't even like it was fit for TV. It was like... It looked like a Twitch stream. You ever see those people that just like walk around on Twitch and like... They'll just film their day, or like they'll have like text-to-speech and they'll just be walking out in the street and they'll take challenges. Like, that's what it looked like. Except lower quality than that. So, I don't know what the NBA is going to do moving forward. I thought the horse tournament would be a good thing. I knew beforehand that the 2K tournament was going to kind of be just because 2K itself is so laggy that how are you going to have cohesive gameplay? Let alone the guys on the mic, on camera, sounding like, again, it was filmed out of an Android phone. So, listen, going forward, I think, if you want my opinion, the NBA needs to get into that plan that they were talking about where they have a 25-day training camp and then the athletes can get back to what they were doing. And then just start I feel like you should just start the playoffs, honestly. I've talked about that before on this podcast. You just start the playoffs. Give everyone 25 to a month and just let them acclimate, get back into playing shape. Boom. Playoffs. I reviewed on the last solo spread in the floor that the playoff landscape or the playoff field right now, if they came back, would be tremendous. And some of the storylines like playoff Ja Morant, ridiculous. Playoff Lakers, finishing it in Kobe's memory, crazy. Giannis, going on record, going on a repeat attempt to make the MVP candidate year. Ridiculous. All one playoffs. I believe also the Pelicans. No, the Pelicans weren't in there. It would have been the Grizzlies. But there were a lot of interesting playoff connotations there if it returns. So I'm hoping it returns. We wouldn't get the same playoff energy, obviously, because the arenas would be completely desolate. But it would be basketball. It would be playoff basketball. And to be honest, like if you want my pick about who wins it or who I want it to win, personally, I think the Lakers got to finish it off in Kobe Bean Bryant's memory. You know? Because a lot of the word around the league is that LeBron was juiced up ever since, not juiced up in the literal sense, he wasn't on drugs, but like he was fired up ever since Kobe's death to finish in his honor and his memory. So personally, me, that's something I'd want to see from him. That's just me. I'd want to see the Lakers finish it off, even though it would be nice to see Giannis get a chip because he started from nothing. And then to go from an MVP year to a potential another MVP year and then winning the chip would be great for him. I got to go. How can you not go in Kobe Bryant's memory? I mean, either way, we're going to be seeing some playoff battles. So hopefully that comes back soon. Hopefully everything returns to normal. But as always, until then, I will be supplying you guys with this content that I love so much. It's funny, I was thinking about it. The stuff I did with Nigel was so good. I was listening back to it. It was really quality content, but I've grown as a podcaster so much since then that, in a way, the singular podcast has become my domain. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen next as I keep at this and grow. But you guys will be along for the journey. I'll still be talking to this mic and trying to entertain you guys along the way. So I will see you guys next time. I have been your gracious, bodacious, humble host, Coop. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay sane. Okay? Bye.
This has been the Chopp'n It Up podcast. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.